Well, good evening, everybody. This session again is recorded, and we have some new people in our meetings. And this is session number 5. And I'm going to introduce. Actually, he is going to introduce himself. I'm just going to name him. This is Dr. John Santoro. Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I'm a podiatrist in Temecula. I've been here for over 30 years. I've known Dr. Izon that long, and I've practiced podiatry. I'm on staff at Temecula Valley Hospital and Inland and Rancho and Loma Linda. At Loma Linda Hospital, I'm the director of the Limb Preservation Program, which is what I'm here to talk to you about. And I know Dr. Areola. I know Dr. Izon. There's I don't know who all is here. There are some physicians and some patients. How many? I don't. It'd be nice to know how big of a crowd I'm talking to.
Okay, yeah, tonight so far we have 19, and you can look that in where it says participants at the bottom. You will see how the number is 19. We've been averaging around 25, 35 people. Most of them come late.
Okay.
but they will be here. So here is Edita. Okay, there's one more coming in. So I believe, Dr. Hizum, we should start.
Okay, great. First, I wanted to, again, welcome Dr. Santoro. Very excited. He did a nice presentation. We have what's called the Future Physician Leader Program, and that's been to try to encourage homegrown talent. Dr. Kanvar has been helping too, and so it's very excited his presentation was very well received, and he has been generous to let us know about what he's doing. So excited to hear him speak. And before that, I'll just give a quick sort of overview of what we've been doing and a couple of other resources. So, and I do see a couple of patients, Ms. Ibarra, I appreciate you being here, and some other nice folks. So this is great. So what we're going to do is kind of review, and especially Dr. Santoro, this is sort of my view on what we can do for resolving diabetes. So we're going to look at some different things, and this is kind of what works for me. And so the theory is that I like to look at nutrition, monitoring, and medicine as a start. And so you do need medicines, but I like to think of them like an ankle brace. You know, I'm a sports medicine guy. So I'm hoping that you'll rehab your ankle and you won't need the ankle brace. I'm hoping you'll rehab your body and you won't need the medicines. But especially initially, you need it. So we call it meals, monitoring, and medicine. So by meals, we don't want you to snack. We want you to have intermittent fasting. We'd like you to get to 3 square meals a day. That's been shown to be quite effective. That's what we all did in the 60s and 70s. However, and Kelsey, that's not the 1860s and the 1870s, the 19. I didn't know Lincoln. Anyway, so it's that you really don't want to snack, and you want to get good at your nutrition, because at the end of the day, diabetes type 2 is a nutritional disease that should be treated with nutrition. That being said, while we like you, we don't trust you, and you can't trust yourself. You need to monitor. You need to count, especially your carbs, and you need to test. You could either do episodic testing, or especially nowadays, and one of the other folks was Nelson was talking about his continual glucose monitor. And then if you need medicine, then use the medicine, but treat it literally like an ankle brace that you can hopefully rehab yourself, and we can actually de-prescribe medicine very safely for you. After that, as you can see up here, I like movies. So I'm real big on just pushing play and just watching all these different movies that start to bring the science to life in an entertaining way. And once you do that, then we get very granular with these kind of meetups, where we can basically health coach you, and we can all together have all the boats rise to the top while their blood sugar goes down. And this all gets very, very exciting. And we think this is the formula for resolving most of the chronic diseases, but in particular, type 2 diabetes. So one of the things I wanted to show you was if essentially, and again, I don't belong to this organization, I don't get any money from this organization, but Virta Health has been showing very good data on if you had the best system, what is the best system? So let me just show this to you real quick. Question. 1 second, let me just walk through this. Sorry, talk amongst yourself for a second. How do I get out of this?
Well, Dr. Eason is pulling that up again. For everyone that has not met me, I'm his summer intern and I'm working with the Lions Club. But also, if you are new to this meeting, you can go ahead and either send the email, your email to me privately, or put it in the chat so that I can make sure everyone gets the resources after this meeting.
So now what we do is let me just show you sort of how this, so this is someone basically came up with it, and you can look her online, it's called Sarah Hallberg, but all of that group, if they said like, what's the best way to resolve diabetes? Because it's hard to do it on your own. It's almost impossible to do it on your own. And even with a doctor, it's hard to do it. But with a team, all things are possible. And the combination of teamwork, technology, and building trust works well. So they have a granular app. I just want you to kind of look at this and see.
Behind our nutrition approach at Virta, and now I want to share with you what a day in the life might look like as a patient with us here at Virta.
It kind of goes fast.
I am so glad you're here to learn more, but first let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Britt Volk. I am a registered dietitian, scientist, and health coach here at Virta. I've researched ketogenic diets for more than a decade and have seen firsthand the incredible impact they have on both metabolic health and well-being. As a health coach, I get to translate the science of Virta into everyday, real-world application. Like, oh, I don't know, what do I eat every day? Which, let's face it, is a pretty big deal. So let's get started. Here at Virta, there is no calorie counting. Calories matter, but you won't be counting them. And you get to enjoy real foods, tasty foods, until you're satisfied. So you're not walking around hungry all day long, which is a real game changer for many. Because for so long, we have been told that the only way to lose weight and to gain control of our metabolic health is to restrict calories and be hungry. Am I right? So that's not the case, because it's the foods that you eat that matter. At Virta, our goal is to fix your metabolism through nutrition, and you don't need to exercise to do that. And frankly, when your joints ache, your energy is low, and you're carrying around an additional 50 pounds, it's downright insulting to say, throw on your running shoes and pound the pavement. And besides, exercise isn't a great weight loss tool. Now, is exercise great for so many reasons, like cardiovascular health, strength, mood, and more? Absolutely. And we'll work with you on implementing exercise, but only if and when you're ready. Okay, so now let's walk through what a day might look like for you as a Virta patient. Now, I know that each of you watching probably has your very own unique schedule and life things going on. So try to think about what it might look like for you. So the first thing you'll do when you wake in the morning is step on your cellularly connected scale, which will automatically transmit your weight to the Virta app. If you don't love looking at your weight every day, and really, let's face it, who does? That's okay. You don't even have to look down. The important thing is that you step on daily so that we can track your weight over time. It's not the day-to-day that's important, because weight fluctuates normally based on variations in body water. But those daily weights allow you and your coach to be able to track your weight and progress over time. Okay. You've stepped on the scale, and for the example of this day, let's say you're on insulin. And while you're waiting for your pot of coffee to brew, you test your blood sugar with a simple finger stick test. This is one of the biomarkers that you will enter into the app that will allow you and your care team to know how your body is responding to Virta, as well as identify when dietary and medication changes are needed. Now notice that you can see a single entry point, as well as your progress over time. So whether 5 days, 5 months, or 5 years on Virta, you'll be able to visualize your entire journey. And speaking of your journey, don't worry. The app will walk you through what to do and when to do it. So what biomarkers to test and the frequency of which to test. which will all change over time. And perhaps that coffee you brewed that we just talked about is maybe all you want for breakfast that morning. Because remember, if you're not hungry, you don't need to eat. Now, what you put in that coffee matters. So think things like heavy cream, half and half, unsweetened almond milk, or even just plain black coffee. Now, if you're hungry, then eat. Whether you want a hot meal of scrambled eggs, with or without a side of sausage or bacon, or perhaps something a bit quicker like a few scoops of full fat Greek yogurt with some berries and almonds, you can choose something tasty and satisfying that won't leave you hungry a few hours later. After breakfast, you drive to work, and when you get there, you realize you have a message from your health coach. Now, remember that blood sugar you entered while your coffee was brewing? Well, let's say it was 110, which happens to be a significant improvement from the prior few days. Well, in that time that you ate breakfast and drove to work, your care team has already communicated about your glucose improvement. So your health coach tells you that your Virta physician would like you to reduce your insulin by, say, 10 units. Now, our goal is to safely reduce your medications by tracking these improvements. After all, that's what this is all about, right? Reducing and eliminating medications so that you can regain control of your health. All right, so you've had a medication reduction and you're feeling pretty good about that. Then you put in a few hours at work and you and a few coworkers decide to try a new nearby restaurant for lunch. You open that menu, and if you're new on Virta, you might be a bit overwhelmed at first when you look through all of your choices. So you text your coach a picture of the menu just to give you a few ideas. Now, I promise ordering off of a menu becomes so easy once you learn a few simple tips like swap that potato or french fries for double vegetables and put a side of butter on that. On Virta, fat is your primary source of fuel, and so that butter is energy. And if you like steak, try topping that steak with butter, and I promise you will never go back. But we definitely understand that when you're new to Virta, you might want or need a little bit extra hand-holding, so your coach is going to be there to do just that. Now you head back to work after lunch for a bit, and when you are ready to take a break, you check the app and see that you have a video waiting for you. We know that people learn in different ways, like videos here, written blogs, and infographics, and we provide all of these in the Resource Center. And when you have a question after reading through all of these or watching the videos, any questions you have about what you've seen or heard, you can reach out to your coach with questions at any time because we are always here to help. After watching that video, you realize you're getting a bit hungry, so you decide to grab a quick snack. Whether salted mixed nuts from your desk drawer or something from the refrigerator like veggies and a high-fat dressing. Remember, none of this low-fat, fat-free, or reduced fat because fat is going to be your primary fuel source and is going to keep you satisfied. After working just a bit longer, you pack up your things and head home for the day. And if you're like me, you might want to just grab something quick on the way home, even something fast like Chipotle. Just skip the rice and beans, ask for a bowl or a salad, and now you get to enjoy the sour cream, the cheese, the guacamole, all of those full-fat foods that you were previously told to avoid. Or perhaps you want to make something that you found in the recipe section of the Resource Center. Whether takeout or a home-cooked meal, you can enjoy a satisfying and delicious dinner of real foods after a long day at work. What you see here contains 30 grams of total carbohydrates. Now, don't worry too much about that right now. We'll review this once on Virta, and your health coach will certainly help you through all of this. But the majority of your carbohydrates initially will come from non-starchy vegetables, some nuts and seeds if you choose, some full-fat dressings and dips, and some deli meats also contain a few grams of carbohydrates. But that's it. Now compare this to the more than 300 grams of carbohydrates that one might consume on a standard American diet, and it's quite a dramatic difference. The reason? Well, for one, you're changing your body's metabolism to burn fat instead of carbohydrates for energy. When you restrict your carbohydrates to this level, 30 grams, you can quickly gain control of your blood sugars, which allows you to quickly gain control of your hunger and cravings, and you are on your way to gaining control of your metabolic health. Now, we're still in that 24-hour period. So before going to bed, you decide to check out the online community because you're looking for a recipe, a recipe to take to a party this upcoming weekend. You want to
Okay, we are on mute right there, Dr. Hison. You know, here
support you, but there is nothing
there we
like
go.
support from the people that are going through the exact same thing you are at the same time that you are. So people really love the community to support one another. When you have control of your blood sugars, your hunger, and your cravings, and you decide you want a little something sweet, you have plenty of options. You simply learn to modify the ingredients, like swapping out sugar for a sugar substitute, like erythritol or xylitol or perhaps stevia. Or maybe you swap out that white flour for almond flour or coconut flour. Perhaps a small piece of dark chocolate or berries with heavy whipping cream, which both tend to be some pretty popular options. So if you'd like to add something sweet, know that desserts are not off the table. And if all of this sounds and looks great, we are definitely interested in helping you with the next steps toward getting started. However, please do not get started without the supervision of your Virta care team. Let me just describe a scenario for you where you're taking a medication that lowers your blood sugar and you're making dietary changes that also lower your blood sugar. This is what we call the double whammy, and you frankly could have blood sugars that get dangerously low. We want to avoid this from happening, and with the help of your care team, who can safely and effectively monitor medication and dietary changes, we can make sure this does not happen. So again, please do not make any changes until you're on the app and you are given the green light by your care team. So as a patient, as you enter your biomarkers into the app regularly, you have that continuous monitoring from your care team, as well as the unlimited support from both your care team and the online patient community. You have resources in the resource center like recipes, guides, and videos to make sure that you are as successful as you can be. So I look forward to hopefully seeing you in the app soon.
So that is an option, and that is something that does cost money, but sometimes insurances do cover it. The other option is that, and this is what I do in my practice, again, I'm not saying to do that, it's just that when you look at this, so we have an app that's called Nudge Coach, and basically what this does, it's very similar, and I can look at all your metrics. I can see sort of what you're eating, that kind of stuff. So we encourage you to ideally get into a situation where you do have a health coach, somebody that can help you, especially if you're on medications, to be very, very careful. The biggest deal is to be very careful not to have any long-term problems or short-term problems. And long-term is high blood sugars, but short-term could be that you're actually getting too low, and that can, be very, very horrible right off the bat. So of all the things you do, be very, very careful with this, because it is very, very powerful, both the dietary changes and the medications. And so that's what we want to do, is be very, very careful not to, quote, hurt anybody. And that's why we do things such as Virta Health is one. We have Nudge Coach, anything like that where someone can watch you or is available to help you when you need it. So one of the things is to look at, they have a lot of good YouTubes, but the best thing I like about it is they have a lot of the research, and they're doing the research that I can use. So this just kind of goes through that. And again, it's not a commercial for them, but just to show that this technology and data science with physicians and nurses is available and is quite exciting. And this comes from when you look at who is the best at anything, is it golf or tennis or diabetes control, is you need to try as much as you can on your end and get sort of granular coaching to look at that. And so today, we're happy to have Dr. John Santoro. He is an esteemed podiatrist here in the area. He runs a practice that has many physicians under him. I know him personally. I think I lost to him in elementary school when he went to a rival parochial school at St. Hedwig's, evil St. Hedwig's. but I'd love for you to hear his presentation, as well as some of the things they're doing with the limb preservation at Loma Linda. And they have been reaching out, and we're going to be collaborative on this, because I think with this, everybody can get better. And then this is Dr. Anzel, who is a low-carb endocrinologist that we hope to get in the future, and has been very supportive of the Lions Diabetes Camp. So without further ado, please help us welcome Dr. Santoro.
Thank you.
With a Zoom clap. So you could take it over now.
All right. Yeah, that picture of me was taken just a couple days ago, but I got scared, and this is what happened. So let me just say that I did speak with, as Dr. Izan mentioned, the group a couple of weeks ago, the pre-medical students, and I gave them a presentation that had lots of gory pictures in it. And I promise you, there aren't really any gory pictures in this talk. So you can, if you're eating, you're safe. So let me see if I can do this now. How's that? Is everybody seeing it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, Loma Linda started, I guess, about 7 or 8 years ago. And after it started, we were suddenly inundated with a lot of these really bad diabetic feet. And it's been many years in the making. And my practice has kind of developed over the years to where, in addition to doing regular podiatric care, which is all the parameters of maintenance and biomechanics and surgery, we were just slammed with all these really bad diabetic feet. So a group of us came together and formed a program, and it's kind of been our dream to get it going. And it's a 2-part program. There's a limb salvage program portion, and then the limb preservation program. And I know our time's limited, so I'm going to kind of jam through this. And really, the preservation part is what I want to focus on. But what limb salvage is, there are a lot of threats to it. There's venous stasis, which is in the veins, don't take the blood back to the heart very well, and it causes fluid to pool in the legs, and wounds start open, and they can be difficult to resolve. Heart disease, kidney disease can affect overall health, which can cause wounds to develop and have a difficult time healing. Some people just genetically don't heal well. Cigarette smoking is a huge contributor to loss of limbs and peripheral artery disease. But diabetes, that's the big one, and that's what we're here to talk about. I'll just dash on a few statistics. According to the CDC, there's over 30 million people with diabetes, which is not even 10%. Boy, it sure seems like 50% of my world is diabetics. And apparently there's a large number that don't know they're diabetic. And nobody thinks of diabetes as a malignant disease. They don't relate it. They relate cancer to a malignancy. But a malignant disease is any disease that causes harm, inflicts suffering, distress. It's injurious and virulent and tends to produce death. And that very much describes diabetes. And what happens when people are diabetic? The blood sugars get high, it leads to peripheral neuropathy, which can create numbness in the limbs. And that numbness creates something I'll talk about a little bit more, but that neuropathy can really be devastating. It causes the arteries to get filled with plaque. And it's not just the arteries in the legs, it's the arteries to the kidneys, the eyes, and then it also causes the kidneys to have difficulty filtering and can affect your health overall. And then it also, of course, contributes to lower limb amputation. And every day, 230 Americans alone will get some kind of amputation, and 85% of that is from diabetic foot ulcers. So what is a diabetic neuropathic ulcer? It's the lack of feeling You know, the nerves in our legs not only give us sensation, but they also tell us where our body parts are in space without looking at those body parts. And when we lose sensation, we lose that ability. So if you have like a small callus on the bottom of your foot, well, that's caused by friction. And if you have full sensation, that friction will cause pain, and it will force you to change the way you're standing, change the way you're walking, change your shoes, make some adjustment. But if you don't feel that, you won't make that adjustment. So that callus will get thicker and thicker, and then ultimately it will get hard and then punch a hole in the foot. And because you don't feel pain, you're not really very concerned about it. It's not till it gets red hot and swollen and infected that it becomes an issue to you. And these ulcers, they can occur in a lot of different places. I'm sorry, I lied. There is some ugly pictures here. And it can cause the skin to break down and become infected and get worse. Okay, Susie helped me put this together, and I didn't realize these slides were on here. So, and then the lack of blood flow causes it to not heal, so it actually progresses and turns into gangrene. And this is what gangrene looks like. But here's the slide that really says it all about diabetic foot ulcers. And that is that there's about 50% mortality rate in patients with diabetes who have neuropathic ulcers after the first ulcer, which means after 5 years, they have a 50% chance of not being alive anymore. And that's a pretty astonishing statistic, because that's way more than pancreatic cancer, breast cancer. It's on par with colon cancer. There's only a few cancers that are a lot worse than a diabetic foot ulcer. But there just isn't that much emphasis on the significance of the diabetic foot ulcer. So the question is, what do we do when we see these patients? And typically we see them in the emergency room. We're a team, multi-specialists. We can consist of vascular specialists, which includes vascular surgeons, interventional cardiologists, interventional radiologists, and they all focus on improving blood flow. We have wound care specialists that use the state-of-the-art techniques to help improve wound healing, infectious disease specialists who make sure patients are on the right antibiotics, and podiatrists who do just about everything else. So what the vascular specialists will do is try to improve blood flow, and they do it by opening up arteries. The picture on the left is an artery that's partially clogged with plaque, and the one on the right is a normal one. And they will do balloon angioplasty and stent angioplasty, which involves putting a wire across where that narrowing is or occlusion is, and then inflating a balloon or a stent to improve blood flow. And if that's not possible, and the limb is still salvageable, they will actually take a graft, either from the patient, a cadaver, or a synthetic graft, and go from higher up in the leg around the occlusion to a lower portion of the leg. We have a device called Luna, which helps us to assess the blood flow in the farthest part of the foot, in the toes and everything, because if there's a block up high and it gets repaired, that's great. But what about the small little tiny arteries? And this device will show us if there's blood going through those little tiny arteries or if they're blocked as well. Our wound care center is across from the hospital. It's got the state-of-the-art equipment. This is Dr. Yoshi Mifune. Everybody calls him Dr. Yoshi. He's the wound care specialist. He's got a big staff there, and he's got his hyperbaric oxygen chambers. He will do stem cell therapy, wound vacs, all kinds of devices, new cutting-edge materials that help to stimulate healing by providing growth factors and other stimulating modalities. We have an infusion center for IV antibiotics that's done there. It's also done in the home or in a hospital or skilled nursing facility. The podiatric team will do surgical debridements on the patients, and what that means is if there's any bad dead tissue that's just causing havoc, then we'll remove it. And then later on, we will try to put everything back together and create a functional limb. We partner with skilled nursing facilities and home health agencies to continue wound care and home health when the patients aren't in the hospital. And we follow the patients continually and watch them as they hopefully improve. But after that, you know, what we found is that patients will get better, and then 2-3 weeks or months or a year later, they're back in the emergency room with a different problem. And, you know, it's like trying to swim upstream. You know, we're not getting anywhere. We may be putting out the fire, but we're not stopping the cause, you know, the cause of the fire. So we've expanded our program into limb preservation, and it's focused on preventing this from happening again. And so we put together a comprehensive multi-specialty group that's goal is to help prevent recurrence. And it includes the podiatrist, who will see the patients routinely for maintenance, monitoring shoes, looking for the earliest problem and trying to resolve it early. We do continual vascular monitoring, because once somebody's had an artery open, it doesn't mean it's not going to close up again. We have nutritionists, and this is where Dr. Izan's going to come in and really help us a lot. The nutritionists focus on a healthy diet, and you know, there's a lot of debate out there about exactly what that is. But I've been doing some research on my own, and after I've followed the patients who are on the low-fat, high-carb diet, I've not seen much improvement. And then I have patients who are on the low-carb diet and see tremendous improvement. I'm wanting to push my patients in that direction. So, you know, this slide talks about healthy carbohydrates. Dr. Izan will tell you there's really no such thing. And we include a cardiovascular center. We've partnered with the cardiac rehab physical therapists who help patients to exercise. And exercise is important, not only for maintaining your circulation. If you've had an artery opened and then you're not forcing blood into that artery by exercising your legs, that artery will have a higher chance of closure than if you use it. But we want patients who have had their lower extremities reconstructed to not make walking or running being their source of exercise, because they just have a real high chance of having tissue break down again. So we want them to be in an exercise program that is not highly strenuous on the skin and the mechanics of the foot. And this group helps that to happen. And there's, you know, they can do it with bike riding. They have a pool. And then they have other modalities where people can get good cardiovascular health. And not only does it help maintain their extremity, it helps them with their weight loss and blood sugar control, but it also helps their mental outlook. People who exercise have a tendency to be less depressed, to be more productive. And then we have a support group, which is actually a group of psychologists, because there's a lot of denial that goes on with this. You know, even you start cutting parts off of people, and they still don't realize what's exactly happening to them. So we try to put them in a group therapy where people in the same position can talk things out and realize that, you know, there's other people going through this, and they help each other out. And the family is very important in this. You know, when a patient's going through all of this, they need support at home. So if they're on this low or no carb diet and everybody around them's eating, you know, potato chips and French fries, it just makes it a lot harder for them. And the odds are pretty high that everybody else in the family is either right there with them health-wise or on their way. So that's pretty much what our group is. I'm excited to partner with Dr. Izan because, you know, it's kind of become my goal is to try to, you know, make a little difference other than just cutting parts off and sewing them back together. And this is the kind of thing that it doesn't cost anything, you know, it's just other than your time and a little bit of commitment. So I think I kept it under a pretty good amount of time. And if anybody has any questions, I'm willing to take them.
Any questions?
Yeah, we can open on questions right now for Dr. Johns. You can write it on the actually chat, or you can unmute yourself and talk.
And then maybe Dr. Sidhu, who is one of the family medicine residents, any thoughts on that presentation or anything recent? Because he's been doing community medicine for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that, start off by thanking Dr. Santoro. I appreciate you coming on here and speaking about that, sir. Podiatry is, I think, very crucial in care of patients with chronic diabetes. A lot of patients come in and, they have chronic changes of their feet, dryness of the skin, ulcers, and a lot of them don't know why. And it's difficult to explain the microvascular changes and neuropathy and such, but it's always helpful to have somebody on board who is, better at treating those issues with people with diabetes. And I just think it's very important to have podiatry involved in patients with chronic diabetes.
So John, he's a first-year resident.
Oh, great. Is that at TVH or?
Yes.
I'm supposed to give a talk to them in August, so you'll hear more.
The
podiatry, the podiatrists, they fulfill a growing void, actually, and and even the patients who are diabetic who don't really have any foot issues, it's kind of amazing how the patients I've seen over years and years who've really not had much of an issue will slowly, well, not real slowly, but will suddenly develop an issue. And it's the kind of thing that doesn't get picked up unless you're routinely seeing them, looking at them. And you can catch a lot of really bad things early and avoid some real big disasters.
John, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
So I put it in the chats to you, but well, it's not really a question, but well, sort of is. So in Vegas, the Lions clubs in Vegas actually have a foot burn unit at one of the hospitals, and they've put together, and this is probably something you're interested in. They've put together a whole group of podiatrists who will help out with foot screenings for neuropathy. And so they do that throughout the city of Las Vegas. And so I think it would be great if we could get more involved. We actually did a foot screening at the Temecula Health Clinic 2 years ago, when they had health screenings. And so it's something that we could also incorporate actually at the vision screenings as well, because probably a lot of diabetics don't realize the neuropathy that is going on. So
absolutely, that's very true. I wanted to emphasize something here. What you said, Dr. John, very interesting. Some people are in denial, and that's so much true. And the psychologically portion is so important. It's the same as the weight loss. There is a psychological issue that if they would do a brain surgery on me, I probably would lose the weight, but I tell you, we have people that have their lumps already chopped, cut, and they still do not change their eating behavior. So there is a problem right there. And there is, like you said, they don't recognize that there is a problem. My father had this issue. My father started having a little wound on his leg, and we knew this was a slow pass, and we had to take care of it. It's impressive, the facility. Thank you for sharing that with us. I really enjoy your pictures and your presentation.
Thank you. Just to touch on that, the denial is a huge thing. And I had a patient in my office just yesterday who I I removed the front half of his foot a couple of weeks ago. And on his other foot, you know, he goes, "Oh, I've got this callus that's been here for a long time, and I don't know what it is." And I trimmed off the callus and pulled out a stone about as big as a pea that he'd been walking on for months. You know, I passed it around the office. Everybody got a kick out of it. But you know, if you had that, if somebody who had feeling in their feet had that on them, they wouldn't take 3 steps, let alone 3 months of walking around on it. And then to touch on the burns, I do see a fair amount of burns, and most of them are this time of the year when the pavement's hot and the people with neuropathy are walking across the hot pavement, and they don't know what's going on, and suddenly they've got blisters and they turn into open wounds, and then the disaster happens. And I've had patients who put their foot up on the hearth next to the fire, and you know, suddenly they're going, "Are we having chicken tonight?" But it's their feet that are burning, and they don't know it.
Wow.
So yeah, it'd be nice to have a burn unit here for all burns. And I know Dr. Yoshi does see a fair amount of them and treats them there in his clinic, which is right across the hall from me.
Dr. John, my name is Victor Renoa, and I was a patient of Dr. Mafuni, and I had 60 treatments to the hyperbaric chamber. And all I can say about that whole unit is they can't do enough for you. And it helped me because it stopped my internal bleeding. I had bleeding from my in my urine, and it stopped it. And I don't know what it is, but whatever you have, it takes care of it. Oxygen in that whole hyperbaric atmosphere just seems to cure a lot more than what's there. So
Yeah,
and credence to that whole group. I wish I could stay on that, but you can only stay so long. It was a great experience for me.
yeah, it's very valuable. It has a lot of benefit. It's hard a lot of times to get patients to be consistent about going in. And it's becoming more and more accepted in healthcare. For the longest time, insurance companies wouldn't pay for it. And now I think it's less of a hassle to get it covered.
Well, I think that if we put together again our vision screenings, definitely we would like to have you. The only thing is that you might have to travel a little bit because once you get to be known, everybody's going to try to snatch you and try to ask to come and be looking at that. I have here in this Zoom call, we have Blandina and Roque. They belong to Los Angeles area. They have a vision screening unit. They go everywhere and they perform vision screenings in the unit, but at times, very seldom, they had a podiatrist. And Roque, you can discuss that or talk a little bit what you guys are doing and the need to have a podiatrist on site. You are on mute. Let me unmute you. You are on mute, Roque. Roque, you are muted.
Okay. How about there?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, my name is Rocky, District 403, and we have a very dynamic diabetes committee team, which is chaired by Irene. Everyone in that team, we are part of what we do most, diabetes screening, almost every other week throughout Los Angeles and even Rancho Cucamonga, somewhere there.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we do. We take care of we screen peasants, some people that are just walking by, or we coordinate with some healthcare center from the different areas, cities or counties, and they advertise for us. So we combine the work with a mobile vision screening unit. Whenever we can have a volunteer doctor to participate and nurses, we bring the truck, which costs about $150,000 truck, which is fully equipped. with doctors and nurses, etc. That's the vision part and the hearing part. And we piggyback with them to do this diabetes screening. An average day, we screen about 70 patients. In a record day, we screen about 120 in a 4-hour. And in a few days where we are not lazy, the people are lazy to come to us, we screen about 20. And together with our dynamic chairperson, Lydia, we also volunteered to do the diabetes camp. And we just happen to know Dr. Hyson, and we make fun of Dr. Hyson because he speaks too fast and too good. But we have been working with you, Lydia, about three years or so.
Yeah, about 3 years.
With our district for about 7 years. Same team. And there is also in here, in there, listening is Odette, also a nurse, and from our district. I think Irene is there, but is probably mute. And Edith Javier, another outstanding leader in our district. She's a GLT coordinator now. So we have been participating with this set of seminars for the past 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? So it's true, we do not have a podiatric. We seldom see a podiatric in our screening. We don't have any access to them. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, Rocky. So the need is there, and as you saw, Dr. John, and you are completely right. The food and the lymph, it's almost like right now they're getting to have a different look. Before, we never heard about it. It was kind of hidden, and it's just now getting more awareness of what really happens to your body with diabetes. So thank you for coming over and sharing with us.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of your group.
Okay, now next, Kelsey, we got 10 minutes. Dr. Hizon, you want to share something else, or we just go to the next thing?
I think we go to the cahoots.
Yeah. One thing you want to share about, since we're here, to the new Nudged Away Diabetes booklet in Amazon?
Oh, well, Kelsey could talk about that too.
Oh, Kelsey can talk about it, yeah.
Yeah. So I can do a quick little excerpt on that, and then I do have a Kahoot. It's a little longer, but we'll just get through as much as we can. But okay, so the book that Dr. Izan and I, a lot of the interns and residents have been working on this summer, kind of culminates all of the 6 weeks that we're going through now, plus some extra resources. And we're hoping to have it done and ready to be sent to an editor by next Friday, and hopefully published by the end of July. So it's definitely in the steps. We've been working hard, and I think it's going to turn out great, and is going to be a great resource for physicians, for patients, for family members, and even for people that just want to learn how to eat healthy and have a healthier lifestyle. So it's exciting, and it's going to be coming out pretty soon, and we'll send that link and get that information to you, all of you.
Mention where the proceeds go.
All of the proceeds are going to Lions Club International.
Lions International camps.
For the camps.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fundraiser for Lions camps. Rocky, so we could do more of those things, and I can talk really fast in front of you. No, I'm kidding. I'm very excited.
We'll have all the Lions to download the copy.
Right. And so this is very exciting. The students are working well. You can see how everyone's coming together to really try to help us as much as possible, at the very least improve, if not resolve, the type 2 diabetics. So that's very exciting, and having great folks like Dr. Santoro and all the other physicians and members, it's really good. And I really appreciate all the patients I see online. This is great, because I think it just helps all of us. So without further ado, we'll try a Cahoots, and maybe explain some of the new people what Cahoots is and how to do it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead in the chat real quick. I'm going to send the website that you'll type into your browser. Oh, sorry. Let me send it to everyone. Okay. Okay, so if everyone can go ahead and type in that, and then I'll go ahead and share my screen and bring up the Kahoot. And we'll just get through as much as we can, and whoever's on top on the leaderboard is gonna It's gonna take it away.
It'll probably be Sally.
It'll probably be Sally, yeah.
Sally's been doing all this.
All right, is everyone seeing this okay?
Yes, hold on.
Perfect.
Did you type the link on the chat box?
Yes, so I typed the website in, and there is the link. So if you guys can go ahead, this is the website up here. And then here is a code. I can say it out loud. So it is 288378. And you are typing into your browser www.kahoot.it. And it's up here, also in the chat. And I'll go ahead and send this code in the chat as well. Oh, Sally's in. Everyone watch out for Sally. All right, so let's see, I'll give it a couple more seconds to let a couple other people get in. Anyone else trying to get in? Anyone struggling?
Yeah, we got quite a bit here.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, a couple more. All right, you can still join with that code after if you still wanna jump in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. This is a review of actually all of the classes. And so the focus of last week, this could be any of the weeks here. So was it keto is the best, Dr. Izom's top 5 hobbies, fats are good for you, or why is it important to nudge away diabetes? This one may be a little bit of a freebie. There may be some repeat questions in here. All right, so why is it important to nudge away diabetes? And that was actually from week 2. So that one's a freebie. We'll see who's in first. But so it's Sally. Sally's got it. All right, moving on. All right, so should you eat small meals frequently throughout the day? Is that true or false? Quick answers here. So false, and that one was pretty easily divided. Remember, Dr. Izom wants us to do those 3 meals and that no snacking. Sally got kicked out, oh no. All right, so what did Dr. Izom metaphorically represent as an ankle brace? Was that medicine, the ketogenic diet, the glucose monitor, or oils and fats? Medicine. So remember, medicine is the thing that we're using like an ankle brace. You can use it if you need it, but our goal is to get off of that medicine. All right. Keep going. True or false? You want to be on medicine forever. So this one is a little bit of a freebie for that first question. Do like 2 more questions. False. Perfect. Everyone got that one. Again, medicine is an ankle brace. We don't want to be on it forever. John is on fire. And we got CW and D coming up. All right. So what movie shows you how good fats can really be for you? Is that Fat Fiction, Magic Pill, The Greatest Showman, or none of the above? This is a little bit of a throwback review here. This is from all the sessions. So let's see who gets this one. And I think we'll do one more after this. Great, Fat Fiction, kind of in the title there, but yep, that's the one that reviews how good fats can actually be for you. Oh, Sally's coming back up. Let's see if she can get it on this last one here. All right, so true or false? Vernon, one of Dr. Izon's patients, never got better. Is that true or false? Last one here. That was false. Remember, Vernon actually did get better, and he was on the meeting last week. All
He's
right.
on the meeting right now.
Oh, he's on the meeting right now, too.
Yeah.
All right.
He's on the beach. But.
All right, let's see who's in first. Oh, Sally almost got it back, but John stayed in first.
That's because I know all of Dr. Izon's patients get better.
All right, so exiting, and then I'll go ahead and stop sharing because I think we're right about on time. Yeah, so congratulations, Dr. Santoro. You took away the first, I think.
I'm sorry, it's the first time I ever messed around with it. I should have just not been a part of it.
No. Dr. Izon and Dr. Wink are in there too. It's a fair battle.
Okay. Well, does anybody have a final question or something that you want to discuss really quickly? Okay, how are we doing so far? You guys liking it? This is session 5. We got one more session next Wednesday. Okay? This is a good thing. We are taking whoever wants it recorded from previous session, please email me. If you don't have my email, Kelsey has my email, so you can ask her and I send you the recorded. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Don't forget me.
I won't forget you, Bob. I won't forget you. All right, everybody. Good night. Have a good evening. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Oh.
Bye.
Good job, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.